Hello again, beautifuls. Darice Johnston, the holistic real estate coach. And I am so excited to share just a little bit more of my story. I think it's so important that we do share our stories with each other because not only can mine demonstrate to you how alike we really are, and that you're honestly not alone in the life that you are currently walking through, but it also really, really helps me to share because it's all about that reciprocal exchange of energy. Obviously, everyone's story is so unique. And in my last video, I mentioned the V word, vulnerability. But I notice, in spite of how much resistance I had getting to a space of vulnerability in my life, I do discover that regardless of the differences in our physical journeys, our emotional journey is really very much the same. So I think that sharing really does help all of us. So before I jump into my story, I have a few questions for you. It's all business related, so give some thought and consideration to the few things I'm going to ask you and how you would answer them. Okay, so the main question here is, how different would your business look if you could? And now think carefully about your answers here. How different would your business look if you could eliminate feelings of overwhelm, manage your energy, use your time more effectively, establish clarity of what is wanted, align your activity level with your desired results, and enjoy a greater balance and harmony between your personal and your professional life? How different would your business look if you could jumpstart your personal productivity, elevate your efficiency and your effectiveness, and create order and organization in your day and in your processes? So the reason I'm asking these questions, throwing this out on the table, is because we need to understand that our outer world really is a reflection of our inner world. The condition of your business as it stands today, your home, your finances, your relationships, all of the conditions in those spaces are all a reflection of where your thoughts, energy, and your attention is or is not flowing. I just want to say that one more time. The condition of all of these places and spaces in our life is all a reflection of where our thoughts, energy, and our attention is or is not flowing. So I have to ask you, and a question I ask myself all the time: what are the conditions of your business trying to show you about your life? Okay, so now that I threw that out on the table, I want to get back to my story. And I want to prepare you for some real vulnerability here. So I want to let you know I established myself as a coach for real estate professionals back in 2005 while I was still employed as a title sales executive. And in my sales position, I realized that I had a really strong and very innate aptitude for assisting agents to amplify their sales by increasing their efficiencies. Now, as a title sales executive, it just made sense to me that my intention was to help my agents sell more real estate by getting them organized and reducing their time and energy expenditure on administrative functions, right? Because the more that they sold, the more that would flow my direction, right? So many of my agents whose experience in the industry spanned honestly across all levels of time and tenure, they would experience a 100, sometimes a 200% increase in closed businesses within the same calendar year, and frequently the similar growth year over year. So clearly the results of how I was working with agents and helping them really spoke for themselves. And soon I was facilitating small group and large group training classes, writing my book Unlocked, revealing the 8 secrets of highly efficient sales professionals. But I will never, ever forget the day that I knew that coaching was woven into the fabric of who I am. And so I just want to share this story with you because it's very touching for me, and I hope it will be touching for you as well. So I was working privately with an agent who had been diligently establishing her sales efficiency processes, but she was continuing to struggle to take action in her business. So, recognizing her frustration, I deviated from my normal routine of talking with her about what she needed to be doing. And instead, we dove into a deep conversation into looking at her desires for her life as well as her beliefs about herself. These two things clearly contradicted each other. So as I'm observing this conversation, I'm thinking to myself, this is why she's so stuck, because the way she is seeing herself is contradictory to how she desires to be, right? So I knew that if I could help her see herself differently, that we would be able to break through her resistance and get her into taking action. So that day in our coaching conversation, we stayed laser focused on discovering her beliefs about herself, her life, and her business, rather than talking about efficiency processes. And 45 minutes and a handful of tissues later, she experienced a major breakthrough. I could actually see the opening of awareness for her as it happened. It flooded her entire face and her eyes lit up from her internal shift in perspective. And as the tears started to flow, she said, I really am capable of succeeding in this profession. I couldn't see that before, but I can see it now. And she thanked me, and she shared that she thought I had literally changed her life. So in that moment, that changed my life too, because at that point, I was 35 years old, a single mom of two very young daughters. And I very soon thereafter, this conversation, I quit my job in title sales and I ventured out to build my coaching practice. I had no savings, I had no benefits, I had no formal education, and I dove in headfirst, and all I had were my innate skills and my desire to love on people and a vision of who I wanted to become. But then something happened that would change everything. As my personal journey would have it, I would only be self-employed on and off for 5 of the next 12 years. Very grateful because each salaried position arrived at exactly the time that my impending financial demise was on the horizon. So thank goodness for that, right? But it was inside of my most grueling corporate position. It literally broke down my body, my mind, and my spirit. Excuse me, my spirit. I'm all choked up. It just broke me down. But it was inside of that grueling position that I realized I was literally breaking my own heart by not giving myself fully to my business. And I had to ponder the question, why was I capable of powerfully influencing others, but unable to commit myself to myself? Can you relate to that question? How is it possible for me to be powerfully influencing the world around me, my clients, but unable to commit myself to myself? So after this heartfelt inquiry, this self-inquiry, I began to wake up to the deep-seated beliefs that were stopping me from stepping in. And here is what I realized. And this is the part of vulnerability that I'm really excited now to share with you. Because as young as I can remember, when in his state of frustration or anger, a very influential figure in my life frequently told me that I was worthless and stupid. How many of us as young children deal with the outbursts of anger of adults that we're trusting in our life? So naturally, my young, moldable mind became very susceptible to believe that I was not deserving, that I was not capable, and that I was not worthy. And for decades, I struggled with low self-worth. And while I saw incredible worth and potential in others, I could not see these qualities in myself, and I could not see them because I did not believe they were there, which meant that I could not let them in to my experience. Instead, I saw myself and everything I related to in my own life through the negatively conditioned lens that constantly reiterated to me that I didn't deserve happiness, that I wasn't intelligent, that I wasn't capable, and that I was not worthy to receive. Now here's the shift. These beliefs literally haunted me and stopped me from living until very suddenly they didn't. Everything shifted for me when I finally invited my spiritual life to light up my business path. So that moment of awakening would literally change my life forever, because once I could see my limiting beliefs, I was able to feel, and this is the key, deep compassion for myself, and also deep compassion for that influential person in my life who didn't understand the effect that they were having on my young mind. And I broke through in that moment, literally a moment, nearly 5 decades of major resistance. And in that moment, I was able to blend my knowing into my being and my perspective on myself as well as my business shifted almost effortlessly. I had totally released and emptied out. So my story has a very happy ending, which is, of course, really only a brand new beginning, because I began the practical application of spirituality into my own business practice. And I know that this won't resonate with every single person who's watching this video, but I wanted to share this story. It is my story. And I excitedly dove into my course material that I had been working from and coaching from for years. And I started connecting the dots between spiritual principles, universal law, and my already time-tested and true business efficiency processes. Because by infusing universal principles into my content, I personally experienced and also regularly witnessed on an even deeper integration and transformation for both myself as well as my clients. So what was already effective over all of these years was now amplified because of the new context through which I was coaching. And all of us, myself and my clients, we were all experiencing an even greater shift in our collective of living new habits of working, thinking, and being. And nothing feels as amazing as breaking through resistance. So my question to you is, do you have chaos or disorder in your mind, your environment? Are your systems and processes broken, or do they need to be refined and polished? Are you stuck in a rut from limiting beliefs that are lurking and preventing you from soaring? Can you relate to my life? Can you also possibly relate to my aha moment? Or are you craving to experience a moment like that of your own? Hey, listen, if you can relate to me and you want to know more, head over to my blog. I have this and other stories there for you to read. And so we can continue to get acquainted with each other, right? So be sure to reach out and let me know what some of your pain points are, because I would love to help facilitate powerful openings for you too, because you deserve to break through your resistance and consciously create a profitable real estate business and an absolutely beautiful life. I'm so grateful that you tuned in with me tonight. Thank you so much for being here.